The following is a police interview with Dan Markel's friends, Alex and Mya Greenberg. I received this from a FOIA request. Some of the parts of the video are redacted. They were redacted when I got the video. You will not hear audio. This was done by the police prior to me receiving the video.
She's going on. She's telling us to do some other stuff. I said, we'll just take food out of the freezer for you.
I'll handle that. Okay, Phil is 416.
This is Investigator Isom. He's
How are you?
the lead investigator.
Alex Greenberg.
Alex.
Mya.
Mya.
Greenberg.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I was telling Maya, I remember seeing her at the
Yeah.
memorial, but I didn't realize that she was your wife at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, we were too. I'll do this later. I'm sorry. I'll put this up.
Cairo, right?
Cairo.
Yes,
Nice up there.
it is nice.
It's nice here too.
Yeah, it's
A lot
nice.
more to do down here,
Yeah, we do everything down here.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
except work.
except for work.
What's y'all's, what do y'all do?
I'm a dentist.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Oh, really? Florida, Auburn?
Georgia.
Georgia, sorry. I guess
All
Cairo should have
all
been
the ones
big-
around here are Florida or Auburn. The
Yeah.
old guys are all Auburn because Florida didn't have a vet school back
Right.
then, so all the older vets went to Auburn. Got a contract
Yeah.
in Florida.
So you're a vet. That's what you just said. Are you really? Okay. And your practice is in Georgia.
In Cairo. We got one in Camilla too. Cairo is the main one, and we have a smaller one in Camilla.
Is it just domestic animals or?
Both. We have there's 5 of us in the practice.
Oh.
So there's the money comes from small animals, but we do a lot of large animals. There's a lot of cows. There's cow work every day. So less horses, less goats, but very few pigs.
I say my girlfriend. Well, she doesn't know where she worked at the North Florida.
Yeah,
Animal hospital right down there, and a lot of those are from. There are a lot of Auburn.
Yeah, those are all Auburn guys.
There.
Yeah.
Simmons.
Yeah,
George Simmons
Man,
is
my dog just tore both of its rear,
ACLs.
the main ligament. Started with the C or something. But
Anterior cruciate.
That's it.
Cruciate.
I don't even
TPL.
tell you how
Wait a
much
minute,
that
I've had
cost.
that. That's the same with a dog.
It was more than that. That place is the most expensive place.
Yeah.
But
It
you
is,
know, at the
they're
same
most
time,
expensive.
So both at
so
the same time. TPLO is on them both.
so they
Fracture
operated.
right there.
I don't know what all they did, but it's been 3 weeks and she's still got to be credited for 8 weeks. So it's been
Yeah,
it's
it's
a mess.
How
We
did
got
you
that little
carry
sling
it?
for her.
How-
She's active and she chases the squirrels and climbs our fence.
What kind of dog is it?
It's a mix, I don't know, but she's always climbing the fence, and she tore one before and just let it heal on its own, and then she just decided to tear after them again, and she tore them
Well,
both
once
at the
they
same
tear
time.
one, they stop bearing weight on it. They're really,
And then
even if
starting-
they don't look like it, they're really putting more
and then
weight on it.
starting to get
And
mixed
it's really
up
a
more.
genetic thing. It's the angle of that tibial plateau is steeper in those dogs that do it, and
Okay.
so it chronically it ain't like a football player that
Right,
that
right,
hyperextends or whatever. They can just stand up and bust it.
Oh yeah, yeah. And she came on that fence and she was in pain, and
Oh,
she wasn't walking after that. So,
Yeah.
so
I had to do something.
I tell you,
Is it MIA?
MYA.
Is your practice up there in
Yes,
Cairo?
I'm in Cairo too.
I guess y'all worship at the same temple that,
Well, we started a different one.
okay.
I used to be very involved with the Chabad one, the one on Meridian, and Danny would come there a lot with his kids. He would come whenever there wasn't something going on at Shamray, that's the one I grew up at, but as an adult I was going to this other one. I became friends with him. Well, I knew him and Wendy, but mostly he was the one there most of the time. And then when he got divorced, we just became close. We invited him to our house for, I asked him if we could do anything. He said, well, I don't have any place to go for Shabbos, for Friday night dinner. And we said, well, come on. And he said, well, it's kind of a long drive back to Tallahassee. Can the kids stay? And we said,
That's
sure.
just
So he'd stay in the guest room with his 2 boys, and it just kind of developed into
That's how it happened.
a lot. I mean,
Okay.
come in. I bet he spent at least one of
Two.
every 3.
Yeah,
there on Friday night.
two a month.
Not every month. Well, fine, whatever.
Two.
2 of 3, 2 of 4, 1 of 3, whatever. Especially over the last probably 6 months, to be honest, it was a lot. I think it was even more so.
Until he started dating Amy more, going to New York.
Well, yeah, he was gone more to New York, but when he was in town, it seemed like he would hang out more.
More with us,
Like,
yeah.
not just Friday night and Saturday, but he did Thanksgivings. He was here
Birthdays.
4th of July's.
Yeah.
A people.
It's
I mean,
like
he's there a lot.
family. Yeah.
Well, and I don't know if his parents contacted you yet.
They were he was talking,
Just talking
that's what
to
we were
his mom.
downstairs, because he was on the phone
Oh, with
with,
his mom.
with his mom, so.
Yeah.
About the house and
Yeah,
stuff.
I gave him the
just
key.
gave the key.
I gave him the key.
Well,
So
we'll
I'm
hang.
not planning on we're gonna go get the freezer empty like she wanted, but
And only
she
follow
wanted
whatever
to do,
instructions.
well, she asked me not to give it to anybody except for maybe Sam Kimmelman or police, I guess, if y'all need do y'all don't have a key yet?
We've already been in the
Yeah,
house.
so we've.
Okay.
And I just want to know who the key holder is going to be, and it sounds like it's going to be you.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we need, for
She
whatever
did
reason.
mention, and I may end up, I couldn't hear her very well on the phone, but she sort of halfway mentioned that maybe Sam Kimmelman might be okay to make a copy for her. I'm just gonna let her get through the Shiva up there, and once that's all done, I told her to call me, and then we can talk more in detail. If she
Yeah,
says to
then
do
I'll-
that, I would be happy to make one for him, because honestly, it'll be easier,
Right.
I mean, he lives down here.
And
we
you're
come
going to
down
wait
here-
for what she says.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give it to anybody except for police unless they, until she tells me otherwise, so.
Yeah. There's one person that's asked for it, and I don't want her to know that we have it.
Yeah.
Who was that?
We're not gonna
Okay.
mention anything about who has the key.
Tamara.
Yeah, I don't want her to know that we have it.
Yeah, I don't know the whole story behind
She
that.
just seems really pushy. I've only
Yeah.
met her, and she just
Yeah,
too
I think
pushy.
her heart's in the right place,
I
but
do.
she's obviously
pushy
just
about
a little
it.
much.
Yeah.
Tell us all about the history.
Of,
Well, obviously you met.
Where do we start?
You met Danny first.
right. We knew.
And we tried to, and we were going to do this separate, so that's fine, just like, we can't listen to two people
Okay.
talk at the
Okay.
same time.
Okay.
So one can start, and the other one can fill in the blanks or whatever.
Okay.
Let me start because I think I
Okay.
knew him
You
first.
knew him
Really,
first, you did.
just again because of at Shul, and this was at Chabad, and that went on for a while, and it's mostly he had a he didn't know, but he's an intellectual. He likes to talk and debate things all the time, and so we were discussing religion most of the time, and eventually I met Wendy. She came for something, and he had shared it over time. Sort of, I knew when they were starting to have some disagreements, and it was a lot. I knew about it because it was religious stuff. A lot of times, it was him wanting to be stricter.
He wanted to be stricter in his
Oh.
home as far as keeping kosher, and Wendy didn't. So it was
Right.
just, little things like that.
Which we were even
We
going through
were,
that
yeah.
at some point. So it was, I was like telling him about how, well, I understand, you agree, well, we're going to compromise, we're going to do this. And then she wouldn't do that. And he would be like, well, I'm compromising and trying to make an agreement. It was those kind of frustrations. And honestly, we went to Shabbos.
I told
We
him,
went,
yeah, to
we
their
went to dinner
house.
once. You understand? If you don't understand a word we're saying,
It's-
we went Friday night dinner.
Friday night.
I just, it's like, she was saying the other day, fatoy.
I've
that's a
never
Yiddish-
heard that word.
Feh, she was feh is like an old
Feh.
Yiddish lady, like it's like
I'd
you
never
know the old
heard that
thing,
term
like
before.
you spit when you say
Right.
something. Like feh is just like the Yiddish
bad
version of
toy.
So she was
Right.
saying fetoy, meaning
Like a
Oh,
weapon
yeah,
or
yeah,
sword
yeah,
or
yeah,
gun
that's
or something.
I've never heard that before either.
We've
either.
never
heard it.
She was just
Yeah.
she just meant feh, like feh meaning like fooey, or
okay.
like feh, like it's
Yeah.
bad. I don't want anything to do with it. So feh toys to her was violent toys, and he was like that too. We
He
used
was
to kinda
like
make fun
that.
of him about it.
Okay.
It was funny.
Was
We
it
had a
okay?
Barbie movie playing, and it was like Three Musketeers, and they were doing
Yeah.
swords. And he came in, and he was like, "Maya, I think there's too much cartoon violence on
Yeah,
this
we were like-
TV."
we checked what it was, and it was Barbie.
We
We
were
were
like,
going-
"Danny, it's a Barbie movie.
Yeah.
I think it's
I mean, we
okay."
feel guilty a little bit because we
Yeah.
kind of were like,
We didn't.
Danny, like, man,
You're
you're
going
raising wusses.
overboard. Yeah.
You need to. Those boys don't want to be like that.
Yeah.
Because our boys are kind of rough, and I mean, even he made me get my dog out one time. Remember?
Yeah.
I had a dog. I have a big Great Dane that attacked one of my other dogs, and when
He didn't
came over,
want him
do
there.
his own.
He
So
didn't
I
want
had to
the
bring him
dog,
up
so
to
we
my
had to
office.
take it to the office. Okay, go back to
Okay.
it.
Getting sidetracked.
You had shop.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Shabbos dinner, and we were like, because we were still fussing a little bit
Yeah.
in between us back then, and I remember because they were so like, almost like
Loving.
overly perfect,
Perfect.
I remember leaving going like, golly,
Yeah, I told him, I was like, I felt horrible. I was like, I'm a horrible wife.
Yeah.
They're all happy and lovey and singing and dancing, and here I am just like.
Right, and he had shared even by that point that they occasionally had disagreements, but I didn't know, because probably 6 months after that, I realized they were having more disagreements, and I mean, I think they were even in counseling,
Yeah.
and And that's sort of the short of the first part of our relationship. You know?
Well, the first part was we had dinner with them. We thought everything was perfect. You know, they put on, you know, it just seemed too perfect. When you would see them out, they were very lovey. If you go back and look at his Facebook page, it's happy 60th wedded bliss, 60th month, or, you know, it was like, who says this stuff? You know, he's too mushy or too lovey or lady bear. It was always the bears.
Yeah.
They were always the bears. And so you know, they kind of were having trouble, and then next thing we know,
I was
they're getting a
surprised when he
divorce.
said they're getting divorced. But I knew they were having problems, but I didn't know it was anywhere near that.
It was
you know.
after Lincoln, after they had their second child.
And I don't remember months and everything, but it was right after that had happened, and he was completely shocked. I'm sure you've heard the story of how everything occurred from 1,000 people by now, but.
Well, I mean, we want to hear from y'all because
Okay.
you're
Yeah.
you're one of the closer ones.
He was.
Yeah, I saw him. I bet it was probably the week it happened.
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, I went to New York, and either she called him or he called her when he got off the plane and said, don't want to do this anymore."
She called him, I think, and said,
I want a divorce.
I want a divorce, and he tried to get on a plane to come back.
Right. And by the time he got
So
there,
she waited till he was out of town?
Yes.
And then
Yeah,
she
Right.
and I think he came back very quickly. In other words,
came back.
it had been planned, because he got back and the house was cleaned out. The bank
kids were
accounts
gone.
were, I don't know if they were all the way empty, but they were certainly half
She
empty.
had moved a bunch of money. I don't know, he had separate, like, investments and money, and she had
She wouldn't tell him where the
transferred-
kids were for it took 2 weeks, I think, for her to even agree to meet him with somewhere with the kids. It was very strange.
She would not tell. Right,
we
she
remember going
took
like,
his-
golly, this is certainly not a threatening personality. Like he's not a
not
dominant,
abusive, yeah,
she's
wasn't-
treating him like that's like what a battered person, like a battered spouse would do, and she was just very unreasonable about it. I know we don't hear a whole lot of Wendy's side of anything. It was very difficult to. We saw her very shortly after that and just gave her our condolences. We're sorry this is
Yeah, it's
happening,
happening.
but it's very difficult to really
It's
be
hard
friends
to
with
be
both of them.
friends, right, with both.
And Danny was the one we always see at shul, but that same week that happened, we said, well, what can we do? And again, he said, well, I have no place to go for Shabbos dinner, and so we invited him over.
And then
it
that's
kinda
how
went
it
from
happened.
there, and it kind of gradually became
Closer.
Closer and closer. I mean, almost to the point sometimes where we felt like boundaries,
Yeah, we would be
boundary
like-
Danny, like it's time to go. We got stuff to do.
Yeah. It's like we had to kick him out.
Yeah.
He wouldn't leave. He would stay all day.
Danny didn't take no for an answer very
Yeah.
well from people, but he did not say no either. He was
Yeah.
very engaging, but it was just, you knew what Danny was after 5 minutes of meeting him. It was very obvious, what he is.
But he was I mean, like, you heard at the funeral, like, he truly, when he would come, he would bring stuff. He never came empty-handed. With his boys, he doted on them. Bedtime, I mean, he slept with them. Like, he had family bed with his boys, so.
He was he was overboard in some of that, I feel like.
Overly
It was just too
involved,
much.
like, too much.
We went like, he didn't, I don't think he mowed his grass, I don't think he
didn't
cleaned
have
his house.
clean-
I
yeah,
think
he didn't have
they had
any-
help to do kind of everything.
Everything.
And he's a professor, so he doesn't work, he didn't have a normal, we go to work and then come home and then half the time we got to do stuff or we have to go back on call. He didn't have those same, so we were like,
He couldn't
man,
understand. Like, he didn't
why are you guys
understand that
mowing
we
your
mow
own
our grass,
Why are you
or that
mowing
we
that?
clean our
We're getting on a
house.
tractor.
Yeah, he didn't understand that we did those things
And
ourselves.
he literally, I think when they were married, I'm sure he did more with work. In fairness, I'm sure he was out of town some.
He traveled to
and,
Israel some.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. But after the divorce, when he had the kids, and he didn't really do anything else. We joke, he could fill our schedule up, and if we couldn't do it, he had other people lined up to do stuff with. I think through this divorce, again, it's his perspective that we know, but she was pretty unreasonable about a lot of stuff, and frankly vindictive and mean. She just did not. He would kind of agree. He constantly tried to kind of keep things civil, and he never, even with us, he shared details, and it wasn't ever really like mean to her. It was like he was upset at what she did, but there's a difference. Like you can get
think
mad
it
at
was
somebody
more she
and
would
talk bad
communicate.
about them. And
Like, he wanted to talk to the boys on Skype every day. Even if it was her day with them or they with her, he expected her to call him to let him speak to the boys. I
think that was in the
in the
divorce
agreement, they were supposed to do 20 minutes a day. She wouldn't do that. And he that bothered him. And she had a ring of his uncle's that he wanted back, and she wouldn't give it back. And she said if his uncle asked for it, she'd return it. Well, he asked for it and she wouldn't return it. It was little
and he's
things.
like 98 years old.
Yeah, it was things like that I think once the custody agreement was settled, where it was almost 50-50, that's all he cared about, to kind of settle the divorce. But once he had that custody locked in and he started thinking about those things, that's when he was like, well, I'm going to fight for it. I'm going to go back and I'm going to fight for this.
I think the change was the relocation, the conflict they had. When that happened, I think in his mind he switched to, because I do feel like before that he was kind of giving in to everything she wanted. He
Because
was just
she
trying to
wanted
save the idea that they were both going to be able to communicate nicely and raise these kids.
Which
That's the
was
word he
never
used,
going to happen.
co-parent. And I understand her perspective in that she was trying to get away from him, and she, and here, even on her days with the kids, he's got a Skype with them. I understand it can be frustrating, but that's their agreement. But when that happened, I think it switched a little bit, and that's specifically what I want to tell you. I mentioned it at the memorial. I'm sorry I wasn't very much.
Oh, no.
I had slept 2 hours and driven a lot and upset, but that switched in his brain from okay, I'm done being nice, and and then he started thinking about all that, like Mya said, all the things that he kind of just got screwed over about, and something. And I don't know the details, but I think I talked to him on Tuesday, the Tuesday before he died. We were at Panama City Beach, or I was at Panama City. She was working. She didn't come till late that night. But he called me, so I called him back, and he said, "I got good stuff to tell you. I got lots of big stuff going on." And I was like, "Well, now you got me curious, And he said, "Well," and he brought up his girlfriend in New York, just because they had last time she came down, they were,
They were
off a little bit.
And
The girlfriend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he went back to New York with her.
He wasn't going to go back. She was here for just a couple days.
She was here. She was supposed to be here for longer than she
Longer
was.
than she was.
And she was spazzing out because her kid, she's recently divorced too, or I don't even know if they're
I don't know
actually
if it's
divorced
final.
all the way
Yeah, I
yet.
don't
But
know
her
if it
child their one child was at
at
camp,
camp.
and he has some
ADHD. He was
he has some
diagnosed with ADHD.
hyper kid, I guess. But she was upset about him, and so she was going to leave her. When she came, she agreed to come, but she was only going to stay a little bit, and then he ended up going back with her.
With her.
And then when he came back, apparently they had some kind of good
breakthrough, everything. It was a good thing that he went with her.
Are we
they
talking
kinda-
too much together?
No.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
there was a little bit of tension the last time she was
Tension
down?
when
And
she
so then he
was
felt like
here.
they worked it out.
They
and went
worked
over.
it out.
I don't think it was tension like their tension was that she didn't want necessarily the
She-
relationship out in the open at that point.
Yeah, she didn't want to make
She
it
was like, I'm not
public.
even
And Danny
legally
was-
divorced all the way yet, that
Y'all
kind of
met her?
thing. What's that?
Y'all met her?
Yeah,
Yes,
we met her
yeah,
twice.
Yeah, we had
She
dinner
came down
with her.
twice.
Yeah, she
Right.
stayed at our house the one time.
Yeah, the first time she came,
They
we went to
stayed at our
Williams in
house.
Thomasville, and then came
Yeah,
back and they stayed there.
They stayed at our
So,
house. The second time we had dinner at Mosaic.
I don't remember what restaurant, whatever it is over by.
Market Square.
Mount Market Square. I think
There
it's
is a mosaic in there.
So when the two times she's come, one time she stayed at our house, and the second time we just met them for dinner.
And she seemed fine
She's
to
wonderful.
us, but we really
She
liked
doesn't
her.
travel well. I'll just say she hates flying. She just doesn't travel well, so she panics.
Yeah.
Literally panics.
But they bottom line is I think they kind of finally agreed how they were going to handle everything, and like he said, he specifically said I made it kind of a breakthrough with Amy, and blah blah blah, and everything was good. And that case that he had going on in New York, he was excited about working on that. I think financially it was a good thing for him, and I think probably ego
Ego-wise,
wise, it's probably good for him.
Yeah.
And that's it. But and this is again, Amy's the one who told me this, but because I already knew about what was going on with his case, with the divorce case. And today I called to check on Amy, and she said that he filed all that stuff. I think on Thursday, the day before this happened.
That could
Or he
potentially
was
get
supposed to
Wendy
file it.
disbarred or something.
Yeah, there was a big,
big thing.
I mean, I can't remember every detail of it. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but I think she perjured, basically, is what it is. He said she did not disclose certain things in their
Financial
under oath,
things, under
and I think going back, I don't know how big of a deal they were. I think some of them were some of the complaints were probably not that big of a deal, but he was
going to file sanctions
right
against her lawyer.
And her lawyer even.
They
I
quit.
think her lawyer was going to be a problem. It was going to be in potentially some issues with her profession, and enough that I know the lawyer quit.
Recused themselves from the
her
case
lawyer
or
quit
something.
after he started all this, and then his lawyer quit or Danny said because he felt that lawyer felt bad for going after another lawyer.
Or I thought, didn't his wife work paralegal or something
He didn't tell me that. He told me because he didn't want to go. He felt guilty for going after another lawyer. I don't know what you're talking about with the paralegal.
I thought, yeah.
Well, tell him. I don't know.
Well, I don't know that one lawyer's wife paralegaled for another lawyer and it was a conflict of interest. But I have no idea. That's all I know.
That's what you heard him say, something like
Yeah.
that?
I have no idea. Now, that's the only thing as far as like the whole Wendy thing. Now, Danny did, after the divorce, he dated a lot of women. He would tell us about it. He was very open about it. And, some of them he would tell us a lot. There was one in particular that was married. And
I found their names today.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to call Amy because these are all legal academics. All three
They're
of them
all
were
lawyers.
And Amy was aware of all of them, his new girlfriend.
Yeah,
Yes.
she knew all about it, but she knew they were before her, but
there was
she doesn't know
one-
one of them.
yeah.
But you want me to?
You could tell.
Okay. These are their names. These are the two names. Lisa Kerr.
She was
I think she
married.
was still in contact with Danny and friendly. None of
Okay.
these were serious relationships, but at least not on Danny's perspective. This one, Nancy Leong, was the one that I remember this happening. She was the one who was married.
She's married. She kind of freaked out on him. They were supposed to meet at the beach one weekend, and it was supposed to be like Danny was excited about it. And she got there and was like, don't touch me. She met him there, but
Yeah,
it was
and
like
I can't verify. I know that Nancy was one of the names of the girls, and Lisa was one of the names.
there was
Amy
another-
said she knows that's the one that Danny talked about that was crazy, that
Yeah.
did this. She knew
She
they went to
was
the beach and
married.
everything.
And her husband is actually applying for a faculty position at FSU.
She told me, Amy told me today that Danny didn't want really anyone to know that him and this girl had hooked up at some point because
Nancy.
Yeah, Nancy, because Nancy's husband is also a lawyer and was applying. Maybe Amy said applying to something at FSU, and he didn't want professionally that
to come
become
out,
a
so. And then there's a Turkish one.
But when
we
she
don't
went to
know
the
name.
beach, though, I remember when they went to the beach, like Maya said, it was like a very big disappointment. Danny said, I think he woke her up or something at night. She freaked out and didn't talk to him the whole rest of the time. Afterwards, she said she had some paper due in the Harvard Law Review, and that was why she was just under a lot of stress of dealing. But the bottom line is their relationship was done after that.
How long ago was that?
It was before he started dating Amy, so before
remember when they
January,
started
so
dating. I have no clue. I know.
I
So-
don't know when.
Amy and him started this 2014, January 2014.
Sometime, like they've been
I think
dating
they've
8
known
months.
each other longer, but I think the dating part was.
Do you know if any of these have recently contacted him since?
I know. Well,
Lisa
I know
has.
that Lisa, I think.
When he was in New
Yeah,
York
Amy even told me a
last.
story about Lisa calling him about some cockroach. I'm assuming you've talked to Amy plenty.
I've talked to
He-
him.
he's-
Yeah.
Did she mention something about Lisa?
Didn't mention any of these women.
Okay.
Those are the
I think
those
I think she's not
heavily
yeah.
medicated.
She
I don't
sounds
know.
like it.
Yeah.
She told me actually, she goes, I just took another tranquilizer.
Yeah, she's heavily medicated.
But please don't assume that we know any of this
Okay.
stuff.
Okay.
Well, and again, like this one, just from talking to Danny and the fact that she has an open marriage
Well,
and is doing
I
that.
cautioned him. I'm like, Danny, you're nuts. She's married. Don't
Yeah.
get into
And,
it.
you know,
Does
do
your
I-
husband have the same last name?
I have no idea.
Do
I know that she worked, well, I don't know, but per Amy, she works at the University of Denver.
Leong?
Leong. Leong.
She
Yeah.
works at the University of Denver.
They're all in academia.
And her husband's a
lawyers.
lawyer too. I don't
Yeah,
know his
so
name.
it's-
For all I know, I don't know if Danny asked her husband if it was an open marriage, I mean,
Right.
who knows?
But he was actually coming to Florida to try, or applying for a job here.
I don't know.
At Florida State.
I don't know. I mean, that's what
That's what
Amy
he
said.
said.
That's
Okay.
not, Danny did not tell me that. So,
But Danny told us about this relationship,
Yeah.
and we were like, stay
yeah,
away.
yeah, well, I was like, what are you doing with a girl
What are you
like
doing
that,
with a married woman?
Was
Um,
Kerr first, or were these
They were
simultaneous?
simultaneous.
They were all
Yeah.
kinda
They were
all
within
around,
within
yeah.
a few months period. He was
Yeah.
going to conferences, and he's, at one conference, I think he said
He
they were
said
all there,
that
all
all
three of them.
three of them were there at the same
Oh, I
conference.
bet that was tough.
Yeah, can you imagine?
But yeah, Lisa, Amy told us that recently when Danny was up there visiting with her, because what would happen when Amy would have her son,
Son
Danny
Harry.
would have to go stay in his friend's
She,
apartment up there.
Amy didn't want Danny around Harry, like
Gotcha.
didn't want Harry aware, yeah.
And she said that Danny, and she said Danny asked her permission to still be friends with Lisa, and she said okay. But she said Lisa had asked Danny to called him at midnight or something and asked him to squash a cockroach or something, I
Yeah.
got a bug in my house or whatever, and Danny told her I can't do that, it's not appropriate. So, and then the third one was a Turkish girl. I remember him saying that she was half Turkish, either half Turkish or full Turkish. She didn't know who she.
don't
Amy
remember
doesn't
that.
remember who that is. She does know that he saw her in January at something, but he doesn't know her name or anything else.
Well, okay, let's try to get the timeline here. I mean, I know there was all three, but really there was one, and
No, they were really with
They
all
were
three.
really all kind of together.
okay,
Like,
but
literally all three.
Yeah,
at this. I mean, but
literally.
You talking about in the same day, or?
Yeah.
No. I'm saying he had to have met one first, and then the second one the next day.
I think he probably knew all these people for a long time.
I
They're
think
legal
he-
academics, so he
yeah.
All
knows-
of them are.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he probably knew them, and then kind of,
this is Amy actually.
I would wait.
Yeah.
Are y'all that close to her?
No, but I called her
No.
to ask for Shelly's number earlier. I don't know Danny's sister, and I couldn't get a hold of Ruth or Phil earlier.
Okay.
So.
Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
But we have.
We're-
We have checked on her every day.
We're the
since
ones
we
that
haven't.
broke the news to her.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Yeah.
I feel a little bit
Yeah,
like
we
she needs to
kinda,
be.
like-
And she stayed at our house. We know her. Well,
Yeah,
I say
we know her.
I feel like we know.
What do you know about her divorce situation or her prospective ex-husband?
Well,
I-
I said,
Future
we
husband.
laughed, I was saying that they had joked that Amy
Yeah.
had a bad marriage, but an amicable divorce.
And that's
And
what Danny said.
Yeah, this was Danny's words.
Danny had a horrible marriage. I mean,
No,
a
a
good
good
marriage
marriage,
and a horrible divorce.
horrible divorce.
Obviously, it wasn't good. But
Lynn, he works for the
his name is Len Robbins.
Lynn
which
Robbins.
I'm sure you'll know that. He's a sports writer, I think.
sports
but,
writer.
I mean, I think
for
he even
the Knicks
offered.
or Nets or
Dan, I asked Danny
They're
about
friendly,
that, and
I
Danny
think.
said he even offered his apartment to him at one point or something like that.
Yes.
I think it was amicable.
Yeah.
I think it was fairly. That he knew about Danny for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was any threatening.
And Wendy knew about Amy.
Right. So Lisa Kerr is where's she at?
I'm assuming New York.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know where she's at. I'm assuming New York though.
But this Nancy Leong
Nancy Leong
works in Colorado.
This per Amy.
Right.
I couldn't come up with Nancy Leong on my own. I had to call Amy and say, "To Danny, do you know about Danny's girls Danny was dating before he met you?" And there was one that was married and a little crazy, and she repeated the whole story to me about the beach. So he must have told her,
Yeah.
She came to the beach to meet him.
Yes.
Came all the way from Denver.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right.
So that's why it was so weird. She traveled to meet him there, and
He
then
went to New Orleans to a conference. Was it New Orleans where he was joking about all three of them were there?
Yeah,
I think it was New Orleans. So if you can look back somehow and find whenever he was in New Orleans, I think that's when he was with all three.
All
I think
three were
literally,
there.
I think he actually hooked up with two of them
Probably
maybe
two of
that same
Weekend.
weekend. You know.
And what I was trying to
I mean,
figure
I
out,
don't think they know each other,
Right,
but
right.
right, I was trying to figure out a month that he got
Whenever
together.
that conference in
Conference
New
in New
Orleans.
Orleans, okay.
Yeah, conference in New Orleans.
I mean that will be fairly accurate because this
Accurate.
didn't last that long. This only lasted a month probably. You know,
Or maybe a little longer, because I
Right.
remember just telling him, Danny, what the heck?
it wasn't. I mean, 3 months at the most. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, comparatively to
long
most
term.
people's relationships, it was not a
Long
long
term.
thing with any of these. You know.
And then how long was the gap between these ladies and Amy?
It kind of all ran together, you know.
Oh, so
Yeah.
we're talking that this was maybe only,
Months prior.
Yeah,
or-
probably,
or,
yeah.
to that
into
point.
2013?
Because Amy joked with him. You remember he said that she wanted him to get tested because this one girl got around and she knew her.
Okay. Yeah, this is like academic incest.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Yeah.
they all-
Even we have that joke.
Yeah,
in
we
vet
were
school,
like,
these
it was, we
faculty and
were
everything, yeah.
joking with Danny,
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
And in his work, I mean, he was a big deal for that, you know, so he goes to conferences and the other big deal, they just all know each other, you know, because they all publish stuff and yeah. But I just thought about that like, man,
Right,
she was
it did.
crazy. Now I think about, and she was married. So,
Right, that's what Amy said to Danny. You remember she
I
wanted
can't remember
him
that
to.
exactly.
Okay.
I know he had
talked to me
to
about
get
it.
tested before he would go hook up
Oh,
with her.
with Nancy, she made him be. One of them made him.
This
be
one
tested.
made him be tested. Nancy did. I remember because he was excited about going to the beach
Yeah.
because he was.
This young lady, I don't even know how to
Tamara.
Yeah.
Tamara. Was there
Yes.
anything more between them?
I think.
I think she thinks it's more than probably
Yeah.
what. Danny never mentioned her to me. I had never even heard of her until.
He did with me a little bit,
Okay.
but it was a passing. I think he
His-
considered like being in a relationship with her
with
like
her.
that,
Mhm.
because after the divorce, he was kind of going like, "Well, I'm going to stay
But
in
I think
Tallahassee. How am I going to meet somebody Jewish in
I
Tallahassee?"
think
And
they did hook up in Tallahassee.
They may have. I mean, I don't. You know, they may have had a little short fling or something,
Fling.
but it's. I don't know.
Where do they know each other from?
They went to Harvard Law
They went to
together.
Harvard undergrad.
He said that.
Yeah.
I know she said that. I want to know if he had said that.
He said she'd been a friend for a long time. I
I've
met her
never
at
heard him talk
Lake
about
Ella
her.
once, and I met her and I asked him about her, and he said she's divorced too. And I think she has a little emotional instability, you know, but not. I don't know.
I met her for the very first time the day of the funeral.
Oh,
We met at Panera, and she was like, "I want to go there early
You need to back
talk."
up and tell them how it started, because she just randomly texted you for some
Randomly,
reason.
yeah, it was-
and she was like, "Who is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, I know her. That was Danny's friend." Like, you know.
Right, when I posted the notice for Danny's memorial on my Facebook page, she immediately friended me. I don't know who this girl is. Immediately friended me, and then started messaging me.
And she's been
And
fairly active since
Fairly
then.
active contacting me since then.
And
then she,
Amy and his girlfriend now.
Right.
is-
And then she said, "Can we please meet at Panera before the funeral?" So I don't, I was like, okay.
You skipped a little bit though. What happened?
What?
She was obviously very upset. And my
Upset.
wife was we were out of
Out of
town,
town.
and she wanted to get, anyhow, we ended up coming home early, but
Yeah.
my wife was kind of spazzing out too, and so I think that she
They-
said, well,
I
what
think
can we
they-
do? Can we help? And Maya wanted to do something, so they said, okay, well, we'll help set up for the memorial, which,
Yeah, I
I
was
didn't talk
there
to anybody else at
early.
the shul. They just kind of said, okay,
Right,
well,
we
we'll meet
went-
in the morning and
yeah.
go over there. So.
Right, we met in the morning at Panera and then went over to Shomray, and we helped set up and put chairs out, get everything ready. But I met her at Panera, and literally within 5 minutes I got, I was like, wait a
But
minute.
she asked his family for a shirt.
Shirt
so
at
she
his
could
house.
sleep with it. It's weird.
It's weird, yeah.
I did call. Have you talked to the McMahons, Courtney McMahon yet?
And Darren.
I have not.
Okay, well, they're
They're
friends.
also friends.
They're a couple like us, and they're friends, but they've moved to Boston or are in the process of moving to Boston.
But
But
I
anyway,
called her
we
and said,
asked-
"Is she crazy?" Like, and they said yes, but in a nice way.
In a nice way.
Yeah.
So, but I just, she made me feel like something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's like she was too pushy. We need to get a key. We need to talk to his parents. We need to, I want to go through the house. I'm like, who are you? I have never heard Danny talk about you. It was.
Well, that's why I was kind of asking, but he had talked to her about with you.
Yeah, but it wasn't she from my perspective, she was a longtime friend that he was friendly with, but not,
But
close.
she let
Yeah,
on
I mean,
to
I think
me.
his comment was, well, he used words like she was a Judeophile. I mean, because we were talking about like, well, why would you even consider dating her
anybody if
she's
they're not
Jewish?
Jewish?
Is what I
Yeah.
told her,
It
because
was
he
like-
wanted. I said that's what just got you divorced is your arguments over religion
Why are you
and
dating
why would
someone
you do
who's
that
not
again?
Jewish?
And she said, and he said, well, she's a Judeophile. She would probably
Convert.
she would probably convert or whatever. And that was kind of the end of that discussion. I don't necessarily know that they hooked up or anything.
Well, I do, just from that, because she was like, I'm sure Danny told you, and I was like,
but, okay, well, she told her,
yeah,
not Danny.
and I was like, maybe, I don't really remember, but okay. And then I remembered the word Judeophile, that I guess it sort of clicked of who she was, but she made it out to be like they were very close in law school, that everyone in their class knew that they were very close.
When she set up
And-
that fund for his kids, and apparently Dan's sister asked her not to do that.
do it.
And she did
Really?
it anyhow, which
Yeah.
is just weird.
Yeah, and that they had been intimate recently, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, usually Danny tells us. I didn't hear about
He
this.
doesn't shy away from
He doesn't
telling us
shy
about
away
his
from telling
personal
us.
stuff. Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know who this person is. And so that's the only thing. And she's just been kind of very pushy with me, and I'm like, and I don't know her. I've literally met her the day.
She does
that-
seem very nice, but
Nice.
it does seem like it's coming out of a nice place, like she's truly grieving and upset, but it's a little weird.
It's just weird.
So we can honestly say that his relationship with Amy started in January.
Around, yeah. She said 8 months. They've been together 8 months.
She said
It's almost, August will be 8 months, but
Yeah, it's
Maybe-
around. The only reason why I know is her first visit to Tallahassee was around Valentine's Day, because that's when she came and stayed at our house. Was in February.
I can't remember.
And
I
we
can't-
went
I'm bad
out-
at day. I can't even remember my kids' birthdays.
Yeah.
you are going to be in trouble.
I know.
Because I'm the one who has to fill out all the paperwork.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that.
But I can say it was around Valentine's Day. I remember that it was around Valentine's Day.
But when that started with Amy, these were done.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, when
There was a
he
break,
yeah, for
right,
sure.
when he started dating with Amy, it was exclusive.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it was exclusive. On
And
his
fairly quick,
end,
I think.
yeah, fairly quickly.
I mean, I think he went pretty head over heels pretty quick.
Yeah,
about it.
he
And they
fell
stayed
for-
together the entire time.
Yes, they did not break up.
Exclusively.
Yes,
Yeah, they didn't break
they have
up.
not broken up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know her.
Side, but no,
Right,
he,
no, I'm just saying, did he have any other
Danny,
buddy?
No.
he did not.
no one since he dated Amy. No one else.
And they had a little riff when she was down
A
here,
little tension.
but had to go back to
Right.
New York, and he went with her.
Right.
Mhm, and things were good.
And I hate to call that a riff, but I guess
No, because the 4th of July, he showed me, or whenever they went to Shelter Island, he showed me the pictures from Shelter Island on his phone of him and Amy.
Yeah, I remember that. Was that
The
when,
one
that's
that
when he
one
went
of the
back
ones
with him?
that she had posted on Facebook.
Was that when they went back?
No, that was previous. Whenever he went
Okay.
to Shelter Island, I don't know. It was
Okay.
before the 4th of July.
Is that up there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she has a home on Shelter Island, which is like, I don't know, Hampton-ish. Who
Okay.
knows? She's wealthy. But she has a home on Shelter Island. He went and visited her. They took a ton of pictures. He showed me when he came back. They looked super happy. So,
Was there any discussion between Danny and you all about Wendy wanting to relocate to South Florida?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's
that
what
was a
we're talking
major,
about.
yeah, that was a major thing.
When was that?
Whenever the motion got denied.
Well, I mean, it was short. Whenever she filed it, I mean, I think everything she did was a surprise to him through this.
She never told
like
him.
they
It was
didn't
like-
discuss it for a while, and it was
Yeah.
just like a week ago, he got a notice saying that he had to be at some meeting because Wendy had enrolled the kids in a different school and didn't talk to him about it or anything, And he was wondering like. That's what I talked to him at the beach when I was at the beach actually about it. I think because he was like, well, I got to make a decision by whatever day, and it only gave me 24 hours to, I haven't even visited the school, but he said it has a good reputation, and so maybe it wouldn't be that bad of a deal, but
That was Tuesday night?
It was Tuesday, I think, and
Tuesday.
I tried to look at it in my phone, but my phone doesn't save everything. It jumps. There's a big gap in it for some reason, but she wasn't there yet, and I didn't get there till Monday night at like midnight, so I'm pretty sure it was Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon sometime.
That was the last time you talked to him?
Mm-hmm.
You remember what school it was? Was it?
Mm-mm. No, I'm sure Wendy does though. I mean, I don't even know what his decision was. Yeah.
Anybody at the, so really after all this contention between them, you all didn't have any contact with Amy, I'm assuming?
I don't think so.
No,
Just Danny.
Yeah,
And Danny
just
told me
Danny.
he had like a big breakthrough. Everything was wonderful. Like
He
she
couldn't wait to
finally
share
kind of
us the
opened
good
everything up,
news.
And that's the thing you're talking about on Tuesday,
He
right?
told me that on Tuesday.
Okay, so you got, he's happy because he's got this new consulting thing, this case up in New York.
Right.
Mhm.
What else was he happy about?
Amy.
Like a big breakthrough with Amy.
Big
or
breakthrough
whatever.
with Amy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then he was aggravated about the school.
The school, but
I think that was Tuesday that he told me that.
But there was some, I know, but there was, everybody's schedules, but there was something, he filed.
Yeah.
Was that not
he
part of
filed.
his?
Okay.
Yes.
That was not part of that conversation that day. Amy's the one who told me that he was supposed to file that. He told Amy, I think on Wednesday, that he was going to file that tomorrow, which would have been Thursday.
Okay.
And it would, because he was making, she said there was a whole story about how he
Wendy
said
was
that
being
Wendy was
very
being
nice
the
to
last their
him.
conversation. She actually talked to him and was kind of halfway
Be
nice. And he said, well, that was nice, but it's going to go away because when she sees what I'm filing, it's going to just, she's going to be pissed, And, but he had already told us what he was doing as far as the filing, a month and a half
We
ago.
knew.
I don't know how legal, how long it takes to do it. I know his lawyer quit, and that probably put him back a little bit.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, he was going to make sure that it be brought out that she perjured, and that she lied about the assets is all that he
There were
was
some
saying.
other things, but it was little
It was
things, but they all add up, and if you're a lawyer, you really shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah,
Paying
he
attention to
lied
that
about
detail would be pretty
certain
important.
assets that she disclosed on the financial documents of the divorce is what basically he was mad about. And the ring.
The ring was pretty.
The ring never came back?
No.
Mhm.
Never.
Did you all, since his death and the memorial, went to synagogue and people's, did you all pick up on anything at the memorial, or have you had any contact with anybody that said anything?
Wendy texted me before the memorial and asked if we would be there.
Wendy did? He didn't tell me that.
I did.
It's okay.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
I don't know how much my own thoughts would cloud
Yeah,
some of those.
right.
I mean, I guess this is time to be frank.
Yeah, Wendy had texted me and I texted back that yes, I would be there and Alex would be there. I have since tried to contact her and said, my kids are upset, can we FaceTime with the boys? And it was one night and she didn't even answer until the next day. She said, my FaceTime's broken, whatever. And that was pretty much it. Let me see. Pretty much my only contact with her.
And we talked to her at the memorial for a couple
We
minutes.
talked
She kind of.
barely. She was frazzled. She just Sunday at 7:35. Will you be at the memorial today? And I said yes. And then that night at 6:42, I said, if possible, Gabe wants to FaceTime with the boys. And she didn't reply back. Well, she did 3 hours later. So sorry, Aunt Maya, just saw this. Was with Danny's family. FaceTime isn't working on my phone, but maybe the kids could come visit the boys soon. I said that would be great. Wasn't expecting her to FaceTime us today. Gabe just misses it. That was it.
Yeah, our middle son is
Yeah,
very, very
Gabe,
upset.
and that was my last contact with Wendy. As far as that, The only thing, and this is purely speculation, I have spoken to her father before because we're both dentists. We were at a birthday party for Lincoln's
I don't remember which one it was. But they came. They normally
They came.
She won't share birthday parties and let Danny be there.
Be
she
involved.
wants
She
separate ones.
wants
But she came to
separate.
his the last time he asked, and she agreed
She
to come.
came
but she
and
brought
her parents came with her
So let me back up. I'm just trying to clarify. A birthday party at Danny's house,
at Danny's house for Lincoln.
which would have been, I don't remember what the birthday was.
October,
Okay.
no,
I
It's
can
longer
look
than
it
that,
up.
I guess. It was longer than that.
whenever Lincoln's birthday.
This was, I think that was the first year they got divorced when that happened.
Oh,
I think.
No way.
No? Okay. Don't
It
trust
was
me.
when
Like I
all
said, I'm
this-
not good with dates.
Yeah,
I'm
no
gonna go
way.
with her with the dates.
Yeah.
I told you you need to talk to my wife.
It was
on
when
Sunday.
all this was going down, because he was, you know, again, she's coming with her parents, but, oh, this is gonna not happen when I file this motion, you know?
Yeah.
It was another one.
Lincoln's the younger one,
Yes.
Yeah.
and his is in October.
Yeah, October, okay.
Okay, so October.
October a year ago. I mean,
2013.
yes,
You
2013.
remember Lincoln's birthday? You better never forget mine. How do you remember that?
Davis, there,
I'm playing.
okay, Ben's in July. There's only 15 months difference, so it has to be. But it was a birthday party for Lincoln, because I took the pictures, I remember. Wendy came with her parents,
Okay.
and they were friendly to me.
They
then. They were very friendly.
But we
were
knew
talking-
they hated Danny, really.
They hate Danny.
hated Danny.
The
but
parents.
Yeah.
her parents, they hate Danny. His parents hate her. You know, it was from the wedding, from
Even
the
at
very
the memorial
beginning.
service, if
A lot of
if you
mo-
knew everything, his mama's speech was
Directed
very
totally
much
to
directly
Wendy.
towards
To Wendy.
The things she mentioned were things that they fought about.
Fought over.
You know,
Um,
the Jewish identity and making sure. I mean, she would put him on Skype when she did Skype. She'd put him on Skype eating
Eating bacon, you know,
knowing
you don't do that.
you know, that
Like
kind
it
of
was
stuff.
totally to piss Danny off. Like it was.
Yeah. So that, and then the.
But I was friendly with her parents. Like I talked to them because he's a dentist. His
Well, we
son
didn't
is a
wanna-
dentist. Like I
wanna
tried to be
maintain
very
peace.
friendly. I didn't. I tried to be engaging and talking with them. I didn't want them to feel. It was hard enough that they came. But at the memorial, they wouldn't talk to me. I don't know if they were mad at me. I don't know. Obviously, Wendy's not, because she asked if I was coming. But her parents.
I don't know how much of it is them. I mean, they
Protecting
know
them.
that everyone's first thought is going to be
Wendy.
or her family, right? So it does put them in a little bit of a, I'm
Defensive
sure, defensive
mode.
situation. But
Right.
yeah, I would not be surprised if that's how this all turns out. I'll lay it out there.
Okay.
I think they were mean. I think to do some of the stuff that they did during this divorce with Danny is just not reasonable, and just you hate to think somebody would ever actually, I'm assuming somebody was probably hired to kill him. You would hate to think that somebody would do that over really anything, but somebody did, so it just makes more sense to me.
That's the
So I don't
only
know if
thing
I'm
could
reading
think
that
of.
into
I was like,
him.
either
Okay.
her,
The father in
something-
particular.
Right, the father in particular. He just set off like a, not bad.
At the memorial.
Only
Yeah,
at the
to me.
memorial, just because he wouldn't look at me and he didn't.
Yeah, I actually kind of tried to.
We
wave
tried.
him on
Yeah, I
something.
tried to. I was literally, not.
I'm sure
very
he was
far.
uncomfortable, so I don't,
But I don't want to read into it that
Okay.
much, because anybody could be emotional and everybody
Well, and
grieves
if
differently.
they don't have anything to do with it, this is horrible because everyone probably thinks they do, and they know that, and so that it's going to follow her forever.
But the only
if
thing
they
is
don't find
either
out
her
who-
family, a bad student, or
or one of these crazy women. Huh?
yeah, or a crazy woman.
All right.
I can't think of anybody else that would want to. Hurt Danny.
That's all.
I can take this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said you don't know of any recent contact from them, right?
I know.
Well,
Well,
Lisa's
Lisa-
still friends.
Lisa,
Lisa,
yes,
when
and
he
this
was in New
Turkish one
York.
though he did see in January. He saw her at some conference. But
But Amy has all the stuff on that.
Amy
doesn't know who
her
the Turkish
name.
one is. But, yeah, but I do know that there was a Lisa and a Nancy. I just couldn't have told you their last names or where they teach or anything else.
Okay.
Amy did.
You have anything else?
No, I don't think so.
please call us if you need it. I don't know what else we can give, but
No, that's fine. I appreciate y'all coming down. I hope it didn't set you out too much.
no, I'm gonna drive my mom tomorrow to TMH to have surgery at 5:30. So
Oh,
I'll spend the
okay.
night
Let you
down
get,
here.
let you get going.
Busy with that.
All right, thank
We
you.
may be in contact as things progress,
Yeah.
but, you know, I'll keep in touch with you, or if y'all have anything. I gave you one of my cards last time, right? You should still have that in case you,
Yeah,
questions or anything?
yeah, I got it.
Okay, all right. All right, I'll walk all that down.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good to meet you.
Appreciate your work.
Nice to
Take
meet you.
care.
Thank you.